So, welcome to Elizabeth's, Matt's, and Brian's podcast on Arabic music. Hi. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about theory, specifically the theory pertaining to Arabic music. So there are a couple key characteristics to keep in mind when thinking about Arabic music or listening to Arabic music. The first being that it is primarily melodic and rhythmic. So what that means is every instrument is either contributing a percussive quality or a melodic quality. So no emphasis on the harmonic aspect of music, which is quite different from not only Western music, but a lot of other different cultures. So when you're thinking about Arabic music, each instrument, has its own part, and maybe that changes a little bit when you get into the larger ensembles in like the 20th century, when those sorts of larger ensembles like the firqa started to develop. You can't have, each instrument doing its own thing when you have so many instruments playing. So maybe at that point it might have started to change a little bit. And of course with, shababi, like the more popular, more recent music that's happening, that's a little bit probably more chordal too. But your traditional Arabic music is, each instrument is, like I said, either contributing a percussive quality or a melody of some sort. Also, it's based on this sort of quarter tone system, or you could say 3/4 tone system. Notes are either slightly sharpened or slightly flatted, depending on it's the aesthetic of the region is why that is done. Usually it's the E and the B in the scale that are either slightly lowered or slightly raised, depending on what scale it is. It just all depends on the scale. Also, this music is very highly ornamented a lot of times. It's difficult to notate because, first of all, because you have the whole quarter tone thing, but also just because people are expected to improvise and ornament the music to make it more interesting. That's also part of the aesthetic of Arabic music. Okay, so one of the most important things to talk about is, I think I'm saying this right, ajnas, which are tetrachords. So group of 4 notes in a row. It's tetrachord. In Arabic music, tetrachords come together to form the scales that all the music is based on. And you have 3 ways that tetrachords can sort of combine to form scales. So the first way is conjunct. So you have like tetrachord, here's are like 4 notes. Conjunct is when they're right next to each other. So you have 4 and 4, and that makes up your scale. Disjunct is when they're separated by a note, so they're sort of like this. And then overlapping is sort of, self-explanatory. They just overlap like this. They either share a note. I think they share 1 note. So you have your conjunct, disjunct, and overlapping. So that is tetrachords in Arabic music in a nutshell. Okay, so the next thing to talk about after tetrachords would be scales, because that's what they make up. So the singular form of scale in Arabic is maqam, and then plural is maqamat. There are all sorts of different families of scales. There are many different scales in Arabic music, 107, I believe, probably at least. But they're all grouped into families, and they're all based off of one of 4 different notes, either D, C, B flat, or E. So a D-based scale, no matter what kind it is, if it's based on D, it's called Hijaz. If it's based on C, it's called Rast. If it's based on B flat, it's called Ajam. And if it's based on E half flat, it's called Sika or Sika. I'm not sure exactly how you say that. And all of these different scales are associated with different moods. For example, D-based scale, Hijaz, is usually associated with like romantic music, or has like a romantic mood. It can also be like pastoral sounding. So lots of different families of scales, all based on one of 4 notes, and they have different moods that are associated with them. So the last thing that I would like to talk about are the rhythmic modes. And rhythmic modes, the singular is ika and the plural is ikat. There are a lot of different rhythmic modes. They're all made up of three components. The first being doom, which is a low sound, tak, a high sound, and is a rest. So, of course, there are endless combinations of those three sounds. So there are a lot of different rhythmic modes. One of the most common is called maksum. It's just one type of rhythmic mode, but you hear it all the time. It's the doom tak tak doom tak doom tak tak doom tak, and you hear that a lot in a lot of different music. So thing to remember about rhythmic modes, they're called ika or ikat is the plural. There are a lot of different kinds. They're made up of doom, tak, and is.